In 6 days, two football teams will walk out onto a pitch in Seattle, Washington. One of them is Egypt. The other is Iran. And outside the stadium, there will be rainbow flags, pride artwork covering the city, LGBTQ plus celebrations in the streets, a Pride Fest parade, music, color, a city expressing exactly who it is and what it believes. Inside the stadium, two nations where that same expression can get you imprisoned or executed. This is the match that has left FIFA speechless, left two governments furious, left a city determined to stand its ground, and left millions of football fans around the world genuinely not knowing what to think. And it gets more complicated, much more complicated, because there's a layer to this story that almost nobody is talking about. And once you hear it, the whole thing looks completely different. Let's start from the very beginning, because the most important thing to understand about this match is that nobody planned it this way. Seattle has hosted Pride Fest every June since 2007. It is one of the oldest and most established Pride celebrations in the United States, a citywide event that fills the streets, the restaurants, the stadiums, the neighborhoods with rainbow flags and public displays of LGBTQ+ identity and community. It has nothing to do with football. It existed long before anyone in Seattle knew the World Cup was coming. When Seattle was announced as one of the 16 World Cup host cities, the local organizing committee, a temporary nonprofit set up specifically to prepare the city to host, made a decision. They looked at their schedule. They saw that one of their World Cup dates fell on June 26th, the Friday before Pride weekend, and they thought, we are going to celebrate that. We are going to hold a Pride match. They announced it. They planned it. They set up a Pride match advisory committee. They invited artists across Washington state to submit designs celebrating LGBTQ+ people for display around the city. They built partnerships. They committed publicly. All of this happened before a single team was drawn into a World Cup group. Before anyone knew who would play in Seattle on June 26th. The Pride match existed before the football did. And then, in December 2025, FIFA held the World Cup draw in Washington, D.C. When the dust settled and the fixture list was released, the match scheduled for Seattle on June 26th was confirmed. Group G, Egypt versus Iran. The reaction from Cairo and Tehran was immediate and fierce. The Egyptian Football Association released a formal statement saying it, and these are their exact words, categorically rejects the holding of any activities related to supporting homosexuality during the match. They sent an official letter to FIFA Secretary General Matthias Grafstrom, urging FIFA to prevent any LGBTQ+ Pride activities from taking place during or around the fixture. The letter argued that such events directly conflict with, quote, the cultural, religious, and social values of the region, particularly in Arab and Islamic societies. They cited FIFA's own disciplinary code, which requires World Cup events to be free of actions that could provoke tension among supporters. From Tehran, Iran, Football Federation President Mehdi Taj went on state television and called the designation an unreasonable and illogical move that essentially signals support for a particular group. He said both Iran and Egypt had formally raised objections. Iranian state TV confirmed that an official complaint would be submitted to FIFA. Iran also filed a separate request, one that had nothing to do with Pride, asking FIFA to move all of its World Cup matches out of the United States entirely, citing the ongoing conflict with America. FIFA rejected that request. Iran's games would stay where they were scheduled. So Iran was being asked to play in a country at war with them, in a city celebrating Pride, against Egypt, while Trump's envoy was separately trying to kick Iran out of the tournament altogether and replace them with Italy. Italy, by the way, told the Trump administration that the idea was shameful and that you earn the right to go to the World Cup on the pitch. That's just the context. Now here's where it gets genuinely complicated. Egypt's Football Association cited FIFA's own Article 4 in their letter of complaint. Article 4 of FIFA's statutes requires the organization to maintain political and social neutrality in the governance of football. Their argument was straightforward. By designating a World Cup match as a Pride match, a specific social and political statement, FIFA was violating its own rules on neutrality. It is a serious legal argument, and it has a serious precedent, because 3 years ago, at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, FIFA made the exact opposite decision. Several European nations, England, Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, Wales, Switzerland, and Denmark, plan to have their captains wear the One Love armband, a rainbow-colored armband, a small, quiet symbol of support for LGBTQ plus people. Worn in a country where homosexuality is illegal, where at the time of the tournament, LGBTQ plus people faced discrimination, harassment, and prosecution. FIFA told those captains, if you wear that armband, you will receive a yellow card, a sporting punishment, for wearing a piece of fabric on their sleeve. The captains backed down. They did not wear the armband. FIFA's message was crystal clear. In Qatar, we respect the culture of the host. Now look at what is happening in Seattle. Egypt and Iran are making the identical argument. They are saying, in Seattle, FIFA should respect the culture of the participating nations, just as you did in Qatar, just as you told the European nations, not here, not now. Eric Wall, a member of Seattle's own Pride Match Advisory Committee, acknowledged this directly. He told the BBC, in Qatar, they said we had to respect the culture. The same logic should apply here, to Seattle's culture. Two sides, one principle, applied in completely opposite directions. And FIFA, the organization that supposedly governs the game with a consistent set of values, has said almost nothing. Here's what makes this story even more layered than it first appears. The Seattle Organizing Committee is not FIFA. They are not the US government. They are a temporary, independent nonprofit. FIFA has no direct authority over what happens outside the stadium. The pride celebrations, the flags, the artwork, the parade are in the streets of Seattle. They are not inside Lumen Field. FIFA did not organize them. FIFA did not approve them. FIFA cannot technically stop them. When Egypt wrote to FIFA demanding the Pride events be canceled, what exactly were they asking FIFA to do? Tell a city it cannot celebrate its own identity on its own streets? Tell a nonprofit organization that has been planning this for over a year to dismantle everything? FIFA does not have that power. And even if they did, should they use it? That is the question that has paralyzed every football administrator, every commentator, every fan trying to make sense of this. Seattle's position is simple. Hannah Tedeschi of the Seattle World Cup Committee said it plainly. LGBTQ plus culture is an integral part of this city's identity. We welcome Iran. We welcome Egypt. We welcome those players. Everyone is welcome here. That is not a hostile statement. That is not an attack on Islamic values. It is a city saying, this is who we are. Come as you are. But for players from countries where who they are, their identity, their relationships, their existence is criminalized, walking into that environment is not a neutral experience. It is not a simple football match. It is walking into the middle of a statement about values that directly contradict the legal systems they come from. And here is the human question that has kept me thinking about this story for weeks. What about the players? Mohamed Salah will walk out onto that pitch on June 26th, Africa's greatest footballer, a man who has transcended the game, a man loved by fans of every background across the world, a Muslim, an Egyptian, a global icon. Salah has never spoken about LGBTQ plus issues. He is a private man about his faith. He has consistently kept political matters away from his public persona. But in 6 days, whatever he does, whatever he says or doesn't say, whatever gesture he makes or doesn't make, will be analyzed through this lens. If a teammate makes a gesture supporting pride, headlines. If he rejects it, headlines. If he says nothing, also headlines. He cannot walk through those doors without the story following him. The same is true of every player on both sides. Young men who have dedicated their lives to football, who are here to compete at the highest level of their sport, who almost certainly did not ask to be placed at the center of a global cultural confrontation. One football writer put it this way: the players didn't create this situation. FIFA didn't create this situation. A city's calendar and a tournament draw created it. And now the players have to walk out in the middle of it. There is a group of people in this story who are almost never mentioned, but they are the people this match is most directly about. LGBTQ plus people in Egypt and Iran. In Iran, homosexuality is not merely illegal. It is punishable by flogging, by imprisonment, and under certain interpretations of the law, by death. Gay men have been executed in Iran on charges of sodomy. This is documented. This is real. This is the legal environment that LGBTQ plus Iranians live inside every single day. In Egypt, same-sex relations are not explicitly criminalized by a single law, but morality and debauchery statutes are routinely used to prosecute LGBTQ plus people. Human rights organizations have documented hundreds of arrests, entrapment through dating apps, people imprisoned for who they are. For those people, watching this match from their phones in Cairo and Tehran, perhaps in secret, perhaps in fear, the Pride match in Seattle is not a political debate. It is something else entirely. It is the sight of a city, in the most watched sporting event on Earth, saying, "You exist. You matter. We see you." Whether or not Egypt and Iran's football federations want that message attached to their match, for the people those federations do not represent, it may be the most important thing that happens around June 26th. FIFA has now been asked about this situation in multiple press conferences. Their response has been consistently, almost artfully, vague. They have noted that the Seattle celebrations are organized by an independent committee. They have said they support inclusion and diversity. They have said they are in dialogue with all parties. They have not said what that dialogue has produced. They have not addressed the Qatar comparison. They have not explained why the One Love armband was considered provocative enough to punish with a yellow card, but pride flags across an entire city are not provocative enough to warrant any response. They have not published their position on whether Article 4 of their own statutes applies here or not. What FIFA has effectively done is what FIFA does best in difficult situations. They have said nothing loud enough to be accountable for. In 6 days, the referee will blow the whistle. Egypt will line up against Iran. And for 90 minutes, the football will be played. And outside, Seattle will be Seattle. There will be fans wearing rainbow colors who came to this match specifically because of what it represents. There will be fans from Egypt and Iran who are deeply uncomfortable with what is surrounding the match they traveled to watch. There will be LGBTQ plus Egyptians and Iranians who cannot be in that stadium, watching from screens, carrying the weight of a complexity that no broadcast team is likely to properly explain. There will be Mohamed Salah, and there will be FIFA somewhere in the background, hoping the game itself produces enough drama to make everyone forget the questions they still haven't answered. The 2022 World Cup in Qatar asked, should football be held in countries that criminalize LGBTQ plus people? The 2026 World Cup in Seattle is asking the same question, from the other direction. And football's governing body, the organization that was paid to have an answer to exactly this kind of question, has given us the same response they gave in Qatar. Silence dressed up as diplomacy. So I want to leave you with this. In Qatar, FIFA told the world, when you enter a country, you respect its values. Wear the One Love armband and you get a yellow card. In Seattle, Egypt and Iran are saying, when you enter a match, you respect the values of the teams. Cancel the Pride match or we will complain. FIFA cannot honor both positions. They are incompatible. One of them will be betrayed on June 26th. So here's the question I want you to sit with, and I genuinely want to know what you think, because I don't think there is a clean answer. Should a World Cup host city have the right to celebrate its identity around a match, even if the nations playing object? Or should the values of the nations playing take priority, even if that means erasing the identity of the community hosting them? Drop your answer below, because in 6 days, we are going to find out which side FIFA actually chooses, whether they admit it or not. Subscribe, because when that match kicks off on June 26th, we will be covering everything.